Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today we'll be modeling I'm gonna call it an antique type of key. Oh, and I'm using the new version of Blender 2.71. Highly recommend you go out and download that. Alright, but as far as the key goes, we're gonna be modeling, I've never heard of a Tiffany Cole Christmas key. Never heard of it. And if you're wondering about these other reference images, yes, it's definitely going to be something in the future that I will be modeling. But also, if enough people request it, but we're going to be modeling this. I guess it's a Christmas key. All right, so let me delete everything off my scene. Put my screencast keys on, and let me see. Let me go into my front view. So we got our image. I don't want it to be in the front, so I want it to be on my right side. So I'm going to move this over a bit so that it's centered. And yes, this is the key that I'm going to be modeling. I mean, the same method that I do on these keys can be applied to these other ones. But let's make some more space. Let's just drag this over. I would say right about there. Okay. So we got our reference image set. So now we're going to be using something a little different for today. We're going to use a circle. And we're going to change our vertices to about 24. Because 32 is a bit too much. And we're going to change that to our view. And you can easily access this from F6, or if you like, you can access it from your other panel. Same thing. I just prefer shortcuts rather than taking a manual method, the old-fashioned. So initially, we're just going to align this up here, and we're going to tab into edit mode. We're going to select the following vertices, the following of 3 vertices, the top, bottom, and left and right, by shift right clicking, and then we're going to put proportional editing on, and we're just going to scale it up and play around with our settings. That's good right there. Now select everything, scale it down some more, and we're going to select the middle vertex up, down, left, right, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Alright, perfect. Now we're going to select these other portions just to bring it in closer. Play around with our settings a bit, and that looks fine. Alright, so now we're going to get the outer border of this shape, and also this, I'm not sure if this is a cutout or a texture, but I'm just going to assume it looks like a texture to me. But we're not going to be texturing this tutorial, possibly in a future one, but for now we're just going to model the key. And we get this little blue looking type thing on our normals is because they're facing the wrong direction. So we're going to select everything, Ctrl N. Select everything, Ctrl N. Why is the normals not flipping? Interesting. They're facing the wrong way. Shift Control. Select everything. Shift Control N. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to select the outer part, and let's go to our loop tools, the add-on that I've used in a couple other videos. If you don't have it activated, you just go to your user preferences and search in loop tools, and just enable it and save it as your default. Alright, we're going to be right there. We're going to scale it one more time for the outer part. Alright, that's fine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this outward to give it a little depth. we're gonna add, let's see if this is gonna, alright, it doesn't really take away, so that's fine. Actually, it does. So we're gonna select the inner part. And also I'm using Ctrl Tab as a shortcut. So I'm gonna extrude these inward. And then I'm gonna save it. Actually, I'm gonna save it like that. And then I'm gonna close these in. We'll cut down the middle. And just holding Shift right click to select more than one vertex. And pressing F to create a face. Alright. And I'm going to enable this button right here, which will automatically join verts. And I'm going to also put on my vertex and put on my magnet, my snapping tool. There we go. Take the portion editing off. Snap. Snap to there. Snap to there. And we got this. Alright. And so now we're just going to select this whole thing, close it, and then we're just going to press J to join these together by selecting the following faces. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select this loop, and we're going to scale that outward as well. And then we're just going to scale it inward a little bit. Just to give it a little variety. And we're going to change our shading to smooth. And now we're just going to harden some of these edges. Alright, and we're just going to do that on the inside. Now now with the image, I mean it's just a plain flat view, so I'm using a little bit of my artistic freedom to try to get an interesting shape that's visually nice for everybody. And of course with the insides you can add the textures if you like. I'm going to take off take on optimal display so that our view won't be heavily subdivided. And then I'm just going to harden up some of these other edges with bevel. Alright, now that's looking decent. Now I'm going to finish this part off by using the mirror modifier. Put it to the top of the stack. And I'm going to apply my location, rotation, and scale. And then I'm going to edit mode, select everything. And now I'm just going to move my settings around, move my shape around. So I have it correct. A little bit right there. And then now I'm just going to grab the center vertices to make sure that they're in the center. I'm going to zero off my x-axis. There we go. Now we don't really have any conflicting with the other side, and our normals stay regular. So now we're going to work on getting the key, and we're going to finish off with this part. This is going to be the last part, but we're just going to get the key right now. So we're going to use a separate object, which will be another circle. And we're going to keep it at 12 to keep things consistent. And we're going to scale this down in edit mode. And we're going to extrude downward. And we're going to go into wireframe, extrude it upward some, and extrude up. I forgot to add the whole loop. Alright, so extrude that up. We're not going to make this portion yet, but it's coming up though. So we're just going to do another extrusion, another extrusion, and I'm just going to say one more for right there. Alright, so now we're going to highlight the faces on here by Alt right clicking, and then we're going to extrude, cancel, S, then Shift Z to constrain it. I'm going to stop this part because this is getting a little big. And as for here, we're going to go a bit more, so right there, and then we're going to add some loop cuts and then just scale it out. We don't need to go crazy on this part, but you can if you like, but for now we're just keeping it simple. Alright, so now go back to your vertex. We're going to extrude this going down once more. And let's see, we're going to extrude it again for the bottom part. Now for the key, oh, and our normals are jacked up, so Ctrl N to recalculate. So for our key, we're going to use about, wait, do I got too many? That's 24. I didn't want to use 24, because that's a different count from our object. If I look at this, this is about, oh, never mind, it's 24 as well. Okay, it should still work. It should still work. It's a bit more geometry. But, you know, let's see. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That works. Let's just extrude it. Oh, actually, I forgot one thing to do to make sure that we keep a nice little loop going on around here. I'm going to use the inset key to create an inner face, and you'll see why I added this. And then I'm going to select the inner ones, go back to my side view, extrude, and then I'm going to flatten these off. And I'm just going to position them in place of where our key design is coming in. Extrude it one last time. Now we're just going to add some loop cuts inside. Then we're going to add one right about here, and we're going to constrain it. Oh, and I'm going to take off my snapping tool because it was snapping for some weird reason. And we're going to do the same here. Alright, excellent. So now we're going to select these faces and we're going to delete them. Alright, so we're going to select some faces, some vertices, and create a face. And then we're going to go here, and then we're just going to hit F, 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 F. I still want to hit F there. No, I do not. Alright, so we see that we need to add some stuff here. So it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to subdivide it, and then we're going to add a bevel, and we're going to try to match it up, and we're going to add some cuts in the middle also. Alright, that looks good. So now we're just going to go to the side, hit F, 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 F. Nice little shortcut for filling in these very fast. Alright, so now we got that done. Let's go to a subdivision surface of 2. Now we need to add some more edges. That's going to convert this into a more harder surface than what we have right now. And we're going to bevel everything. Add one in the center. Middle of here and here as well. Select both and bevel. Bevel is definitely a good feature. Like, let's say if you was modeling a shield or modeling armor or any type of hard surface. Oh, in the car, you would definitely be beveling a lot to retain your shapes. But in future tutorials, I'll show you more good examples of bevel and certain models that we'll create. Alright, so got that situated. And it seems as though we need to add some loop cuts around here, about 4. And that also help to maintain our shape. And we're going to add one more in here. Alright, excellent. So now we just got to finish off the bottom, which we'll just extrude, scale this out. And we're going to, it's a bit hard to make out that shape, but this looks like this may be what it is. Alright, so we're going to extrude it inward a bit. Extrude down, and we're going to scale it, and scale it down some more. And I'm just going to fix the shape, optimal display on, and I'm going to extrude it one last time. And I think I'm going to add one more in there to just finalize the shape. And then I'm just going to close it with a face and put another edge just to help with retaining the shape. And I'm not liking it right there. So hopefully grid fill will work this time. Grid fill. There we go. And that's a perfect example of how you use grid fill. Alright. So now we're just going to finish this off. We have one last part just to connect it. We're going to add some vertices because it looks like we're losing detail. And we're going to harden up some of these edges over here. The image, our reference image, isn't really that clear on hard edges around this area. So we're just going to go with our own gut and put in our own detail. But, you know, it's still close to our reference. So, oops, I'm just going to add some edges to help with retaining shape in certain spots so that it doesn't look too soft. Alright, that's perfect. So now we're just going to connect everything together. We have 12 vertices here, and we're just going to scale this out. Well, we're going to scale it on Z-axis to keep it kind of flat. And we're going to scale that out a bit. And we're going to scale this part outward. Alright, that looks fine. I'm going to add one more. Actually, I don't like that. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is and just modify this a little bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add in a loop cut, which is good that it follows here, that it's not disrupting our edge flow. So I'm just going to select these following faces, and it's good that we have our mirror so that we don't have to do it twice. So we're going to extrude going straight down. Oops, I forgot one thing before I do that. Put clipping on so that our shapes never go through each other, and it just remains, it constrains it. Oops. And I forgot one. So select that. And we're going to extrude going down. We're going to flatten, scale on the Z-axis. Oops. Alright, perfect. Now we're going to just delete the bottom one's face. And now we're going to add this modifier together. And we're going to take off our subdivision surface. And then we're just going to Control J for join. And now we got 12. Okay, that is a bit of a problem. Now this is interesting. We got too much going on, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to collapse some of these edges. I mean, unless if I really wanted to keep 24, excuse me for the sound. Okay, excuse me for that again. Now we're just going to continue to collapse these edges. And hopefully we have 16. We're almost there. So we just need to get a couple more down. Well, it won't really hurt to add one in here. Yeah, it's not gonna hurt too much. So let's add that in there. And we need 2 more. Alright, so now we got 16. So what I figure I'll do, I'm going to use my snap, and I'm just going to snap these together, and they're automatically being merged with this icon selected on. Okay. It's a little bit of a weird geometry that we got going on here, but it's not much of a problem due to the fact that this object will never move. So let's just see how it looks now. And let's put 3 just to see. It'd be a interesting shape that we got going on here. And we're just going to fix these last little edges on the side. And then just scale them, turn snap off, and just scale them a bit. Alright, so now the very last part that we have to do is we're going to add the little ring part at top, and we're going to use that as a separate object, which we're going to use a torus. And to really keep things at a safe amount of segments, I think 12 and 12 is fine, because we don't want it to bog down the system with all the vertices. So I'm going to hit F6, align to view, and we're just going to scale it, move it up a bit. Let's make sure it's in the center. Change shading, our shading to smooth. And the last thing we gotta do is just select these vertices at the bottom. And I'm gonna extrude them downward, constrain them on the Z-axis. And then I'm gonna flatten them. And for the sake of it, retaining a shape, I'm going to add another edge loop in there. Alright, that's perfect. Now we're just going to add one more torus, and that's going to be our model. So let's go torus for the win, and we're going to change it to align view. Add a modifier, level 2, change the shading, and we're just going to scale this down and rotate it on the, I never get this right, first on the Z-axis, and we're just going to put it right in place and scale it optimal display for all the models so that it's easier to see. And I'm gonna scale this up just a bit more. Alright, and ladies and gentlemen, that's how you model a key. And I'm gonna do one thing else to this, which is just, I'm gonna thicken it up, because it was looking a bit thin. Alright, and this is looking a little too bulky, so I'm gonna, alright, there we go. And change it to 2. Alright. I'm definitely satisfied with that, and I hope you are as well. And this is how you model a key from step by step, using different elements in different shapes, and also using your reference images if you have a whole bunch of them. So I hope you enjoyed this, and look forward to the next video. Alright, bye.